Thank you very much for the introduction. I'm very happy to be here. I'm loving Warsaw. I've never been here before, and it's amazing. It's amazing. I was reading a tweet about Warsaw, Poland overall being an economic miracle since it's developing a lot. And I also heard, maybe you can correct me, but that in 4 years it's going to have a higher GDP per capita than the UK, Poland. Yeah, that's true, right? Yeah. So economies all over the world very enthusiastic about Poland, and it's very, very interesting to see it firsthand, like all the development that has happened here. And well, I don't know what will happen in 10 years, right? It's gonna be, I don't know, like a beast. So that's great. And well, let's go with our topic today. So, who do you know about StarKnet here? All right. I would about Starkware. All right. Okay, so Starkware is the company that is behind the creation of StarKnet, right? And recently, since May, there was an announcement that there will be a lot of focus on also scaling Bitcoin with all the tools that we already developed for Ethereum. So it's going to be very, very interesting because we will be able to bridge both Ethereum and Bitcoin in the same StarKnet layer 2. So there's also a lot of questions like, is StarKnet ETHWarsaw or not, right? Starkware has explicitly said that they are Stark's Maxi. So they want to use this technology, the Starks, the cryptography behind StarKnet, to scale what is important and also follow certain values. And the values that the Starks align with are with Ethereum and Bitcoin. So in this case, we wouldn't be scaling Solana, for example, because maybe we think that the values that we go with are in Ethereum and Bitcoin. So this is an amazing technology development, and that's what I'll be talking about. So we're going to be talking about the scalability challenge, something that I think that you already know very well. Then about the Starks. Then we will go on into the implementation in Bitcoin and how the Starks and StarKnet is going to be the bridge between Ethereum and Bitcoin, and this interconnected future that we can have and all the good things that can bring to us. So of course, a disclaimer, this is a personal presentation, it's not the opinion of Starkware, neither from the StarKnet Foundation, which I represent, by the way. So let's go with the scalability challenge. So we know that Ethereum process, you know this, not that many transactions per second, Bitcoin an even lower number. And of course, we got a global demand of billions of potential users wanting to use Ethereum and Bitcoin. And I mean, it's okay that we are having 15 transactions in Ethereum, around 15 transactions in Bitcoin 7. It's okay. Why? Because these two systems were developed in order to be decentralized, right? So they are focusing on decentralization first, and maybe scalability afterwards. So first, the layer of security, which is something that other layer ones don't do. Like, for example, Solana is not their priority. I'm not saying that they are not decentralized. It's just that their priority was more on performance, and it's okay, right? Everyone chooses their own poison. And in this case, Ethereum and Bitcoin goes for security first. So the AVM, by the way, was not made for scaling, right? So of course, this hinders the possible mass adoption that we could have. For example, Eli Ben Sasson says that there's at least 1.5 billion people that are lacking for banking, and Bitcoin could be the way that they get on board into financial system. But of course, with having one transaction per each 7 seconds is not, I don't know, it's not gonna make it. Like, we're scaling Ethereum right now. It's not enough, but we would also like to scale Bitcoin in that sense. So now going to the Starks Ethereum solution that we have proposed initially for Ethereum, now for Bitcoin. So the Starks, who knows about the Starks? Who has heard about the Starks? It's a very, very, very technical audience. So okay, so basically the Starks were initially implemented for Ethereum, and they can prove the important thing here is that they can prove complex computations without having to reveal the data, right? So that allows, forget about privacy for the moment, because privacy, of course, is something that you can do with the Starks. You cannot do it currently with the StarKnet, but in the future, there are some talks about maybe implementing Noir from the Aztec team or other privacy-focused languages or systems on top of StarKnet. So that is something that I think is going to happen. So actually, one of the main arguments for scaling Bitcoin in this sense is also providing giving privacy to Bitcoin, which is something that Bitcoiners tend to like, that kind of things. So we will be able to have privacy also on top of Bitcoin in the next iteration if everything goes well, which is basically OPCAT. So we're going to be talking about that. But yes, basically the technology at heart of Ethereum scaling for StarKnet is the Starks, and they allow us to prove complex computations of the chain and then verify it on the chain, which makes things much cheaper. And also at the same time, Starks provide post-quantum security. This is something that maybe you have heard before, something that Vitalik has talked also before. Like, he believes that Starks are the future-proof cryptography primitive that we can have, because it's basically it provides post-quantum security in theory. So whenever we will have some quantum algorithms that are able to break the elliptic curve cryptography, then the Starks theoretically will survive that kind of things. So we have seen a big move towards Starks recently in Ethereum. For example, CKC recently moved from Snarks to Starks. Of course, StarKnet. We also have the RISC-V team. RISC-0 team is also using Starks. I know several Polygon mining is also using Starks. So we're getting more and more attention towards Starks, and we expect this in the future to even increase further. So zero knowledge is very related right now to Starks, and also we have this no trusted setup required, which is very important for us, and it's also that goes with the values of Bitcoin, right? Like don't trust, verify, right? And this also our main core. Like what we like is computational integrity, in the sense that we know because we're verifying everything. We're not trusting the word of anyone, right? Which goes more with maybe optimistic rollups, that kind of stuff. But I don't want to get into details with that. But we want to prove every transaction that goes and then verify that that it has integrity, right? So again, this goes with both, I think, Ethereum and Bitcoin ethos, right? But with the Bitcoin community, we need to be very, very puristic. It's a different beast. So at the same time, stars are barrel tested. We have had over $1 trillion settled already using the Starks. So the Cairo language is behind DYDX version 3, Sorare, RenoFi, a lot of different companies. So a lot of money has already been moved with Starks, and there has never been a failure. Okay, never been a failure. So this is something that a lot of people don't know. But Cairo, the language that we're using in StarKnet, and hopefully in Bitcoin soon. And using the Starks has never failed. It has already settled over $1 trillion. So it's something that is already proven. I don't know, maybe more than Snarks? That's a good question. Like how many resources have been settled using Snarks? I don't know, to be honest. Because StarKnet was the first zero knowledge rollup to be on mainnet since 2021, November 2021. So and before that we have the StarkX. So I don't know. There's a lot of money that has been moved here. So okay, so in Ethereum. So we implemented the StarKnet as layer 2 in Ethereum. This is something that you already know. We're using the language Cairo. Who knows Cairo here? Like, has heard about Cairo? Okay, Cairo is like perfect. It's a programming language. It's similar to Rust. If you know Rust, C++, C, any of these backend languages, hardcore backend languages, you will be low-level languages. You will be able to grasp Cairo very easily. If not, it's also not that hard. I think it's much easier than Rust, for example. But it follows, again, we have always the security mindset, right? So something that Rust is very known for is that it's very safe, right? It makes you define every possible scenario. Like if you have an error, then what will happen, right? So this is something that you also is type, of course. So it's much more secure, or at least more explicit than Python or JavaScript. And this is what we're trying to follow with Cairo, making it very, very strict on what you're writing, so you can create by default safe programs. So Cairo is a very nice language. You can explore it. It's much easier than Rust, of course, and I think it's easier than Solidity, and I prefer it to Solidity. And we need Cairo is not like we created it in Starkware because we needed something that could be Stark friendly. So the code that you create in Cairo goes then into Starks, and that will be easily then go into the prover and then verify it. So we needed Cairo because of that. It was not like something that we wanted to do because of fun, right? So, okay, and of course, this provides us with fractal scaling that for us in StarKnet is very important, which is the layer 2, then layer 3, and maybe you can have a layer 4. What does this mean? It means that you will have infinite scaling. So every time that you go up, the prices of the transaction could be much lower, and also the speed could be much higher. So this is what we call the fractal scaling, and it's something that we want to bring to Bitcoin too. And of course, we are talking right now. We recently had a nice update in StarKnet and our peak TPS transactions per second is on the 200s. So we are currently the lowest fee layer 2 in Ethereum, and the fastest layer 2. This happened last week, so it's very recently. So again, finally, we're able to see the potential of zero knowledge. We have always, since, I don't know, like 2021, we have talked about zero knowledge is going to be superior to optimistic rollups because it's going to be able to scale infinitely and so on. But finally, with StarKnet, we're able to see that. Like right now, I don't see a scenario where Arbitrum or Optimism, for example, could be faster or with lower fees than StarKnet. This will only increase in time with StarKnet. So I know, like we are in a very interesting position right now. So now, how we implement it in Bitcoin? The crucial problem here is OPCAT. Who has heard about OPCAT here? Okay, so OPCAT is the main challenge here. Like OPCAT is a simple, very powerful Bitcoin opcode that was actually before implemented and then eliminated by Satoshi. I think it was in 2011. But basically, what it does, what it allows to do, is to join different elements using Bitcoin script. And this is essential for implementing the stars and, of course, the verifier. And also kind of like having a state, like a memory in Bitcoin. So this is crucial. OPCAT seems very simple, but when it allows you to join elements, that will be very useful. So we currently have a couple layer 2 implementations in top of Bitcoin. I think Cytria and other companies are doing layer 2 implementations, but they are not depending on OPCAT. But if we get OPCAT merged or done in Bitcoin, then we'll be able to use the Stark verifier. The Stark verifier that we use in Ethereum, the equivalent, we can bring it to Bitcoin, and then I don't know, a lot of cool things could happen. And yes, as I was mentioning before, OPCAT was part of Bitcoin, but it was removed due to certain vulnerabilities that could affect Bitcoin seriously. So in order for us to reintroduce it, Starkware has created a font that you can apply if you want to research on the potential issues or potential goods that OPCAT can bring to Bitcoin scaling. You can apply for a grant by Starkware. There's $1 million allocated by Starkware to research the potential issues of OPCAT implementation or the potential goods of the OPCAT implementation. So if you want to know more about this, let me know. I will be here. I also will be in the stand of StarKnet. But you can apply to do some research on this topic. It's very interesting. So we want to know exactly what could be the consequences of this. So, of course, the reintroduction has been proposed through the famous BIP 420. And, well, this will allow us to have more complex scripts and smart contract. This is the crucial part, smart contract functionality, right? And, of course, the Stark verifier. So, oh, sorry, I was talking about, okay. So, what's the main issue with OPCAT initially? It would be that there was an exponential string growth. So since you can concatenate and concatenate, you can make a very big string, which could be, we could create something very big. And if we, like, according to Eli Ben-Sasson, the simplest way to solve this, so it's kind of like, for me at least, and I know for a lot of people, it's kind of like an incognito of why it was taken down from Bitcoin initially. So it was because of this strings problem, like the string growth problem. But in reality, according to Eli Ben-Sasson, president of Starkware and creator of the Starks, this can be very easily solved just by implementing a limit cap on the strings. So, for example, hard cap on total script size, for example, 1 megabyte maximum, right? And then you must cut the string. Or could be like also limit the number of OPCAT operations per script. So there we could have certain limits, but I don't know. It's hard for me to understand why wasn't these safeguards implemented before. So that's why we need more research to know the consequences of this. And of course, the Bitcoin people tend to be very they don't like to implement more stuff into Bitcoin. So these caps could be weird for them. That the more you add, the more they get a little bit crazy, right? And more difficult for us to implement this. But at the same time, they know they need this scalability, right? We are approaching a this is very important. They know at the same time that they need this because this will bring more fees to the miners, right? So it's like currently there's a big debate in the Bitcoin community, and it's very interesting. So why Starks and Bitcoin are a good match, mathematically speaking? So I am not an expert on this. I must say that this before, but basically Bitcoin relies on hash functions, which is actually the power of the Starks. So I told you before that the Starks have a post-quantum security in the sense that it is not using elliptic curves, but it's using hash functions as its main source of security. And Bitcoin does the same. Bitcoin is based on hash functions, so there's like relatively easy match. This is something that doesn't happen with snarks that are not hash-based. And Starks are also using, aside from hashing, it's also using bitwise operations, which again are very efficient on Bitcoin script. So I don't know exactly. I need to ask the Starkware team, but it seems like Starks were made also for Bitcoin. Like it makes a lot of sense to put them in there also. So I know it's a very nice match. And I don't know, it would be interesting to see if snarks can be implemented in Bitcoin script too. Would be very interesting. So sorry for this long slide, but basically the key Stark components and the Bitcoin compatibility is the Merkle trees, which are used already in Bitcoin, and StarKnet, the Fiat-Shamir heuristic based on hash functions, the Reed-Solomon codes, which can also be implemented using finite field arithmetic. Again, this is a little bit arid, but basically Starks as Bitcoin avoid complex operations like elliptic curve, pairings, and maintaining. So this keeps the Bitcoin ethos and very simple computational model. So again, it seems like Starks and Bitcoin honestly are being made like it's like a match already. So that's very good already for us. So the Starks versus other zero knowledge proof systems for Bitcoin. Again, this is very new, and it remains to be seen how other zero knowledge primitives such as the snarks could propose an implementation in Bitcoin. I haven't seen anything yet. If you know something, let me know. But that will be also very interesting. So again, the Starks are using no trusted setup, which is something that has been one of the weaknesses of the snarks. So this aligns with Bitcoin's trustless nature, that you don't trust anyone. You only trust mathematics, and that's what we want to do. That's the ethos of Starkware also. And also, again, the post-quantum security, simplicity for underlying operations, what I talked before, and of course the scalability, that is basically the significant of change computation that we can do, and then verify it on chain. So basically, as a summary of this section, OPCAT will be very relevant for us to implement to have both smart contracts on Bitcoin and implementing the Stark verifier on Bitcoin. And Stark seems to be like a match made in hell for Bitcoin. And also, the OPCAT will allow us to have the covenants, which is basically implementing smart contracts on Bitcoin. This is another interesting topic. So covenants basically, covenants enabled by the OPCAT will allow us to create smart contracts on Bitcoin while preserving the UTXO model that Bitcoin has. And basically, it will allow us to have kind of like a state as in Ethereum, like having a memory of what is happening. And this could allow us to have smart contracts. But for this, again, we need to have the OPCAT. And of course, to have OPCAT, there's not only like the mathematical. Well, before going into that, so the goal of this, in the end, what I was talking before, is having the Stark verification. Stark verification. We have even talked with some layer 2 companies. Layer 2 companies for Bitcoin. And they are, if the OPCAT gets merged, then they are interested in using the Starkware prover, the STU prover, which will come soon, into their implementations of the layer 2s. So we will see like more Cairo code being written not only in StarKnet as a layer 2 for Bitcoin, but we'll also see it as a layer for other layer 2s in Bitcoin. So Star verification will be crucial for us, so we can have the verification happening on chain, which, as you Ethereum people know, we know it's much cheaper to verify something than to make all the computation, right? So that's the premise of the zero knowledge rollups, right? Create computation off chain, verified on chain. Sorry, computation off chain, yes, verified on chain. So okay, so basically that's what we're looking for. And before my time finish, and well, this will allow us, of course, to have a Bitcoin that is lean and efficient. So what are the issues here? Of course, we need to research OPCAT again, as I mentioned before, and also, of course, the covenants and all the possible consequences. Some initial research shows that it will be okay for us to implement certain caps to the size of the string, so we can prevent the issues from coming from OPCAT. But more remains to be seen, as I see some people are just entering here. So we have a grant to research this information, 1 million grant by Starkware to implement, to research and see implementation of OPCAT and the Stark verifier. So let us know. And also we have a lot of funds already allocated in building the verifier. So we're already building everything so that when OPCAT happens, if it happens, hopefully, then it's just a matter of connecting everything and we'll have it done. So there's a lot of funding and resources on this. So let me know. I will be in the let me know right here, or you can see me in the StarKnet booth, and we can talk about this. But okay, so there's some changes needed in the Bitcoin protocol, and well, we have benefits and considerations. And as we know, we need a consensus by the community, right? And the Bitcoin community is a different beast than the Ethereum communities. They are. When I was talking with the Starkware people, how they are implementing this and all the research, they are very different. Like for example, they don't like to be, they don't like KYC, which you need to pay them for research. For example, if you want to do some research on certain topics, then they don't like KYC and that kind of stuff. And it's something that we need as a company. So I know it's different, and it's very, very interesting to also be talking with them. So so again, this brings us with fractal scaling with rollups, not only with Ethereum, as I mentioned before, but we could have it as a Bitcoin for Bitcoin layer 1. So imagine having layer 2, layer 3, which basically will have, what it brings us is like an infinite scaling in Bitcoin. So yes, so well, potential increase. Of course, this is theoretical, but we're talking about a several times increase in the throughput, in the speed, and of course also in the cost of the transactions, which again is good for Bitcoin. I mean, who doesn't want a cheaper Bitcoin, right? Really, who doesn't want a cheaper Bitcoin and a faster Bitcoin? Like again, we believe that Bitcoin could bank a lot of individuals in the that are on bank currently, and I know that I live in I am Latin American, and I know that a lot of people are using Bitcoin for storing their value of the resources. So yes, having Bitcoin, a faster and cheaper Bitcoin is good for everyone. And of course, there's some risk. Of course, whenever you make something more complex, some risks come, right? Something that the Bitcoin community is not very happy of is the MEV. This is particularly important for them. They don't want this. So this is something that we can also see in the future. Sorry again. And well, again, we're in a Ethereum conference, right? And I'm also a person in Ethereum and starting this on top of Ethereum. And this that I'm talking about is theoretical, so it will happen. So whoever knows Cairo will be able to create smart contracts that interact with both Bitcoin natively, not with a bridge. I mean, it's not with a bridge. Like actually use Bitcoin into DeFi in the most likely, the most secure way possible, right? Not with a bridge, because I've seen a lot of a lot of new tokens with BTC. Currently, for example, I was looking at Swells, and they seem secure. But I mean, this is the next paramount of secureness. So of security, sorry. So we will be bridging Ethereum and Bitcoin, and we will be, I mean, like in as a summary, we could have DeFi, Ethereum DeFi with Bitcoin natively. So this opens a lot of liquidity for anyone that is building something on StarKnet. So if you know Cairo, you will be able to use it for Bitcoin and for Ethereum. So I don't know, you don't need to do anything, basically. So this cross-chain development is very nice. And in the end, well, we will be able to use this Stark technology, which is barrel tested already, and all our expertise in scaling for Bitcoin. So this could be very, very interesting and having a very nice, so time is up, but I don't know, there's some risk. But basically, just to finish, the vision that we have here is that crypto is basically a source of good, right? For us, it's a source of good. It can allow us to to empower the individuals that doesn't have power. Like, honestly, like, we're talking honestly here. I'm not selling crap or something like that, but it really empowers individuals for them not to depend on centralized institutions. And this is true. And that is the power of the Starks. And we can bring the Starks for Bitcoin and also for Ethereum, and it's okay. And this is the vision that Eli Ben Sasson has, and will allow us to have an open, more accessible financial system, empower communities, individual, and more so. And we haven't even touched the topic of privacy. But privacy could be relatively easily implemented in both Bitcoin and Ethereum with StarKnet. So this is very, very cool. And thank you very much for your time. My name is Omar Espejel. There's my Telegram. So feel free to ping me if you want to be, I don't know, if you want to participate in this research or code. We have some open source implementations. I will be also in the booth. But there's my Telegram, Espejel Omar. So feel free to send me a message if you want to participate in this. Thank you very much.